You have probably heard that dogs see in black and white. That is wrong. You have probably heard that dogs have terrible eyesight. That is also wrong. The truth is more interesting. Dogs see a world that looks different from ours, in some ways sharper than ours in others, slower in some respects, and significantly faster in one specific dimension that matters more to them than any of the colors we obsess over. Let us start with color. The human retina contains 3 types of color-sensing cells called cones. We are trichromats. Our 3 cone types detect red, green, and blue wavelengths. Our brain mixes those 3 signals into the full visible spectrum. Dogs have only 2 types of cones. They are dichromats. Their 2 cone types respond to wavelengths in the blue range and in the yellow-green range. What they cannot see at the cone level is red. In practical terms, this means a dog's color world is roughly equivalent to a human with red-green color blindness, specifically the form called deuteranopia. A bright red ball on green grass, the toy company's default color choice for decades, looks to a dog like a brownish-yellow ball on a brownish-yellow background. The exact thing dogs are worst at distinguishing is the exact color humans choose for dog toys. Blue and yellow are the colors that pop most clearly in a dog's vision. If you want a dog to easily see a toy at distance, blue or bright yellow is the answer. When optometrists measure dog visual acuity, they typically rate it at around 20/75. That means a dog sees, in fine detail terms, at 20 feet what a human with normal vision sees at 75 feet. On a Snellen eye chart, your dog would be considered legally not able to drive. But that is only one dimension of vision, and it is not the most important dimension to a predator. Dogs do not need to read the letters on a sign. What they need to do is detect a small mammal moving through tall grass at 50 yards in low light. And at that task, they are vastly better than us. Their visual system has been optimized over millions of years of evolution from wolves who hunted by spotting motion at the edge of dim, dawn-lit forest. Detail comes second, movement detection comes first. Here is the most underrated fact about canine vision. Dogs perceive motion at a higher temporal resolution than humans do. In simple terms, their flicker fusion frequency is higher. The flicker fusion frequency is the rate at which a flickering light source appears to become a steady glow. For humans, it is around 60 hertz. For dogs, it is around 70 to 80 hertz. In effect, dogs see the world at a higher frame rate than we do. One practical consequence: old-fashioned cathode ray tube televisions that refreshed at 60 hertz look like obviously flickering boxes to dogs, which is part of why most dogs ignored them. Modern high refresh rate displays at 120 hertz or higher actually look much more like real continuous motion to dogs, which is why there are now dog-targeted YouTube channels and television networks designed for the canine visual system. The technology finally caught up to the eye. At low light, dogs absolutely dominate human vision. Their retinas are packed with rod cells, the photoreceptors responsible for low light sensitivity. Dogs have a much higher rod-to-cone ratio than we do. But the most dramatic advantage is behind the retina, not on it. Dogs have a structure called the tapetum lucidum. It is a layer of reflective tissue at the back of the eye behind the retina. When light enters the eye, it passes through the retina, where some of it is absorbed by photoreceptors. The rest hits the tapetum and bounces back, giving the photoreceptors a second chance to catch the same photons. In low light, this effectively doubles the light-gathering ability of the eye. It is also why dogs' eyes appear to glow in the dark when caught in a flashlight beam or an old camera flashes. That ghostly green or yellow shine is light reflecting back off the tapetum lucidum. In total, dogs can see in light levels roughly 5 times dimmer than the minimum a human eye can detect. A scene that looks pitch dark to you is still clearly navigable to your dog. This is why dogs almost never bump into furniture, even in unlit rooms, and why they remain effective hunters at dawn and dusk, the so-called crepuscular hours, which is when their wolf ancestors did most of their hunting. Human eyes are positioned forward on the skull. Our field of view is about 180 degrees, and our binocular overlap, the central zone where both eyes see the same area, is about 120 degrees. Lots of stereoscopic depth perception, less peripheral coverage. Dogs vary by breed because their skulls vary. A flat-faced breed like a pug has eyes more forward and looks much more human in its visual layout. A long-nosed breed like a sighthound, the greyhound, the borzoi, the Afghan, has eyes set far to the sides of the skull. Sighthounds can have a total field of view approaching 270 degrees. Sighthounds gain peripheral coverage. they lose some binocular overlap. So a greyhound has a wide-angle awareness of motion across a huge arc of the world, but slightly less precise depth perception in the center. A pug has more precise stereoscopic vision in the center, but a narrower visual world overall. Breeds were selected for the visual layout that matched their work. The sighthound chasing prey across an open steppe needs to see motion at the edges. The pug bred to sit on a Chinese emperor's lap needs to see a face directly in front of it. One specialized canine visual ability worth highlighting. Dogs are exceptionally good at reading human facial expressions. Studies using eye-tracking equipment have shown that when dogs look at human faces, they preferentially focus on the eyes, then on the mouth, in a pattern strikingly similar to how human infants scan faces. Wolves, by comparison, do not do this. They tend to scan the face in a flat, undirected pattern. The mouth watching is a domesticated trait, probably reinforced over thousands of generations, because dogs that could read human expressions got more food, more affection, and survived better. So, put it all together, imagine standing at the edge of a meadow at twilight. The grass is washed of red tones. Reds and oranges and pinks are muted into a uniform yellow-brown. Blues and yellows stand out crisply. Detail at distance is slightly softer than what you would see, like looking through a thin layer of frosted glass. But the world is moving in higher frame rate. Every flicker of a moth, every shift of a blade of grass, every tremor of a small rodent 30 yards away registers as a clean, discrete motion event. The light is brighter than you would experience. The dim twilight feels like late afternoon. The peripheral field is wider. The world flickers with detail at the edges. You smell 10,000 things at once, but that is the topic for another episode. Visually, you live in a world that is less colorful but faster, broader, and easier to navigate in the dark. It is a hunter's world, a dawn world, a dusk world. Your eyes evolve for the moments when ours start to fail. So when you throw a red ball into green grass and your dog stares at you blankly, understand they are not being stubborn. They genuinely cannot tell the ball from the lawn. When they catch a frisbee midair with impossible precision, understand their visual system is processing that trajectory at a higher frame rate than yours can manage. When they navigate the entire house in the dark without bumping into furniture, understand they are reading the room in light you cannot see. Their world is not lesser than ours. Their world is just optimized for different problems, mostly the ones their ancestors had to solve before sunrise.